Have you ever wondered why some nights you sleep straight through, but other nights you're up again and again walking to the bathroom in the dark, feeling exhausted before the morning even begins? And have you noticed how easy it is to brush that off as just getting older or drinking too much water, even though deep down something feels off? Here's the urgent truth most people never hear. Waking up repeatedly to urinate is not just an inconvenience. It can be an early warning sign that your kidneys are struggling to manage fluid, sodium, and pressure properly. And when that imbalance continues night after night, it quietly accelerates fatigue, swelling, rising blood pressure, and long-term kidney strain, often years before any lab test sounds the alarm. I'm Dr. Richard Hale, and I've seen too many people ignore this signal until it turns into something far more serious. What makes this especially dangerous is how silent it is. There's no sharp pain, no dramatic symptom. Just restless nights, heavy legs, puffy fingers in the morning, and a body that never seems fully recharged. And while most people assume the problem is their bladder, the real issue often begins much deeper inside the kidneys themselves. But here's the part that gives you back control. In many cases, the kidneys are not failing, they are overloaded. And when you reduce that load in the right way, at the right time of day, they can recover their rhythm. That's exactly what this video is about. I'm going to show you 3 specific beans that help your kidneys flush excess sodium toxins and metabolic waste, more smoothly reducing nighttime urination from the inside out. And at the end, I'll share a simple evening technique, nothing you swallow, that helps shift fluid out of your body before you ever lie down. Because when your kidneys are supported instead of stressed, sleep stops being a battle. And once you understand how this process really works, you'll never look at nighttime urination the same way again. When it comes to supporting your kidneys, the first thing most people get wrong is trying to push them harder instead of giving them relief. And that's why cannellini beans deserve to come first. They don't stimulate the kidneys, they unload them, quietly, gently, and consistently. Cannellini beans, often called white kidney beans, look plain, almost forgettable on a plate, which is exactly why so many people underestimate them. But inside the body, they act less like food and more like a pressure regulator for fluid balance. I once worked with a man who told me he was doing everything right. He avoided fast food, cut back on salt, even stopped drinking water after dinner. Yet every night, like clockwork, he was up 2 or 3 times to urinate. What stood out wasn't excess, it was absence. His meals were low in fiber, low in plant protein, and high in metabolic strain. His kidneys weren't failing. They were drowning in waste with no exit ramp. When we added cannellini beans to his lunch a few days a week, the change didn't feel dramatic at first, but within 2 to 3 weeks, the swelling eased and the nighttime urgency softened. Nothing flashy, just less pressure. Here's the science behind that relief. 1 cup of cooked cannellini beans provides about 11 grams of fiber, much of it soluble. That fiber binds excess sodium and nitrogen-based waste in the digestive tract before it ever reaches the kidneys. When less waste arrives at the kidneys, filtration becomes smoother, not frantic. That alone can reduce internal pressure that leads to fluid retention and nighttime urination. The same serving also delivers around 17 grams of clean plant protein, which produces far less acid than animal protein. Acid matters because every extra unit has to be neutralized by the kidneys. Less acid means less overtime. Cannellini beans also contain roughly 255 micrograms of folate per cup, a nutrient directly involved in cellular repair. Inside the kidneys, this supports healthier nephrons, the microscopic filtering units that determine how efficiently your blood is cleaned. Over time, low folate levels can slow repair and increase vulnerability to inflammation. Add to that their natural polyphenols and flavonoids, which calm oxidative stress inside kidney tissue, and you begin to see why this bean supports long-term stability rather than short-term stimulation. Potassium plays a role here too. Cannellini beans contain about 100 milligrams of potassium per cup, which helps flush excess sodium and supports proper muscle signaling, including the muscles that control bladder release. For healthy kidneys, this balance improves hydration control. For those with kidney disease or on dialysis, potassium must be monitored carefully. But for many people, this mineral actually helps normalize fluid movement instead of disrupting it. Timing matters just as much as content. Cannellini beans work best when eaten earlier in the day. Lunch is ideal because that's when the body naturally processes fluids upright. This allows waste and excess water to be cleared before nighttime. Eating them late, however, can backfire by stimulating urine production when you're trying to sleep. Preparation matters too. Dry beans soaked for 8 to 10 hours and cooked without added salt offer the most control. Canned beans can work if they're labeled no salt added and thoroughly rinsed. What surprises most people is how mild the effect feels. There's no sudden rush to the bathroom, no diuretic jolt, just a quieter system by evening. And that's the point. But here's where it gets interesting. Cannellini beans mainly reduce pressure and waste, but they're only the beginning. Because once the kidneys are calmer, the next question isn't just how to unload toxins, it's how to protect kidney tissue itself. And that's where the next bean changes everything. When the kidneys are finally relieved of constant pressure, a different problem often reveals itself: silent inflammation. And this is where adzuki beans enter the picture. If cannellini beans help the kidneys breathe again, adzuki beans help them heal. Small, red, and easy to underestimate, adzuki beans carry a concentration of protective compounds that work less like cleanup crews and more like internal bodyguards for kidney tissue. I once spoke with a woman who told me her swelling had improved, but something still felt off. "I'm not running to the bathroom anymore," she said, "but I still feel heavy, tired, inflamed." Her labs weren't alarming yet. Her kidneys were clearly under metabolic stress. What changed things for her wasn't cutting more food, it was adding the right one. Within a month of introducing adzuki beans several afternoons a week, her energy stabilized and the subtle puffiness in her hands faded. The kidneys weren't just filtering better, they were calming down. Here's why adzuki beans behave differently. 1 cup of cooked adzuki beans contains roughly 16.8 grams of fiber, one of the highest fiber counts among legumes. That fiber binds metabolic waste, nitrogen byproducts, and excess compounds in the gut before they ever reach the kidneys. Less incoming waste means less friction inside the filtering system. That's why many people describe feeling lighter within weeks, not because of water loss, but because internal congestion decreases. Adzuki beans also provide about 17 grams of plant-based protein per cup, supporting tissue repair without raising acid load. Acid stress is one of the fastest ways to wear down kidney filtration over time, especially in people with metabolic strain or early kidney sensitivity. By reducing acid production, the kidneys can focus on filtration instead of constant chemical correction. Minerals matter here too. Adzuki beans deliver around 130 milligrams of magnesium per cup of mineral, known for relaxing blood vessels and improving microcirculation. Inside the kidneys, this means smoother blood flow through the tiny capillaries that feed each nephron. Better circulation equals better oxygen delivery, which directly supports cellular repair. They also contain approximately 200 milligrams of potassium, which helps regulate sodium balance and fluid movement. For healthy kidneys, this promotes natural cleansing. For those on ACE inhibitors or diuretics, potassium intake must be monitored carefully, but when appropriate, it's a powerful ally. What truly sets adzuki beans apart is their antioxidant profile. Their deep red color comes from anthocyanins, the same compounds found in blueberries and blackberries. These antioxidants reduce oxidative stress and protect kidney cells from long-term inflammation and scarring. Over time, inflammation stiffens blood vessels inside the kidneys, narrowing filtration pathways. Anthocyanins help keep those vessels flexible, preserving filtration efficiency as we age. Adzuki beans also contain B vitamins that support metabolic detoxification, helping enzymes break down nutrients and reduce toxic byproducts before they burden the kidneys. This supports what researchers often refer to as renal microcirculation, steady, uninterrupted blood flow that allows waste removal to happen smoothly instead of in stressful bursts. Timing still matters. Adzuki beans are best eaten in the afternoon or early evening when the body is naturally shifting fluids out of tissues. Eaten too late at night, their mild diuretic effect can interfere with sleep. Portion control matters as well. And about half a cup per day is enough to gain benefits without overwhelming digestion or mineral balance. Many people are surprised by how comforting adzuki beans feel. Warm, grounding, and gentle, they don't shock the system. They stabilize it. But here's the part most people don't realize. Even with reduced pressure and protected tissue, kidneys still rely on one more critical factor to stay balanced: how waste communicates with the gut itself. And that brings us to the next bean, darker, deeper, and uniquely tied to the gut-kidney axis. When inflammation is quieter and filtration is smoother, the kidneys still face one final challenge that many people never consider: the conversation between the gut and the kidneys. And this is where black beans become surprisingly powerful. If Adzuki beans protect kidney tissue, black beans help control what even reaches the kidneys in the first place. They work upstream, shaping waste signals long before filtration begins. I remember a patient who struggled with recurring swelling and borderline uric acid levels. His labs weren't alarming enough to trigger medication, yet his body clearly wasn't clearing waste efficiently. He described it as feeling backed up from the inside. What shifted things wasn't drinking more water or cutting protein further, it was improving gut output. Once black beans became a regular midday meal, his swelling eased and his uric acid stabilized without aggressive intervention. His kidneys didn't work harder. They worked smarter. 1 cup of cooked black beans provides about 15 grams of fiber, including a significant amount of resistant starch. This type of fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which lowers the production of inflammatory metabolites that travel from the intestines to the kidneys. This relationship is known as the gut-kidney axis, and it plays a major role in how much toxic burden the kidneys must process. When the gut environment improves, the kidneys receive cleaner input, less irritation, less strain. Black beans are also naturally lower in phosphorus compared to many other legumes. That matters because excess phosphorus can accumulate in the bloodstream when kidney regulation weakens, leading to vascular stiffening and long-term filtration damage. Keeping phosphorus load lower helps preserve flexibility in the tiny blood vessels that supply the kidneys. In the long run, that flexibility directly affects filtration efficiency. Minerals add another layer of benefit. Black beans contain roughly 120 milligrams of magnesium per cup, supporting relaxation of renal arteries and improving internal blood flow. Better circulation inside the kidneys means more oxygen delivery to filtering tissue and smoother removal of waste. They also contain potassium in moderate amounts, which supports fluid balance when kidney function is intact. As always, individuals with advanced kidney disease must monitor mineral intake carefully, but for many, this balance supports natural detox rather than disrupts it. Their dark color tells another important story. Black beans are rich in anthocyanins, antioxidants, that neutralize free radicals and protect kidney cells from oxidative stress. Over time, oxidative damage narrows filtration channels and increases scarring. Anthocyanins help slow that process, preserving healthy tissue longer. This antioxidant support also benefits circulation, insulin sensitivity, and cholesterol balance, 3 factors that quietly influence kidney health every day. Black beans also assist with uric acid regulation, which is especially helpful for people prone to gout or metabolic inefficiency. High uric acid doesn't just affect joints, it irritates kidney tissue and increases stone risk. By improving insulin sensitivity and lowering inflammatory signaling, black beans help prevent uric acid from accumulating excessively. That's why many people notice reduced stiffness and swelling when these beans become a routine part of their diet. Timing and pairing are critical. Black beans work best when eaten at lunch or midday when the body's upright and actively processing fluids. This allows waste elimination to happen earlier, reducing nighttime burden. Pair them with rice greens, cucumber, or olive oil to stabilize digestion and mineral absorption. Avoid salty chips, processed meats, or seasoning blends loaded with sodium. Those erase the very benefits you're trying to gain. Preparation matters too. Dried black beans soaked overnight and cooked thoroughly offer the best digestion and sodium control. If canned beans are used, choose no salt added and rinse them well. Many people blame beans for bloating, but the real issue is skip soaking and excess sodium. At this point, pressure is reduced, inflammation is calmed, and waste signaling is cleaner. Yet there's still one overlooked factor that determines whether all of this works overnight or unravels by morning: how relaxed your body is around the kidneys themselves. And that final piece has nothing to do with food at all. When food has done its job, pressure reduced inflammation, calmed waste signals, cleaned, there is still one factor that quietly decides whether your kidneys truly get to rest at night or stay under tension until morning. And most people never think about it because it has nothing to do with diet at all. It has to do with the space around the kidneys, the nervous system, and how much stress your body is holding on to when you lie down. This is where gentle evening back heat therapy becomes a turning point. I once spoke with a patient who told me I fixed my meals. I stopped eating late. My labs improved. But I'm still waking up at night. What finally made the difference wasn't another supplement or food restriction. It was something far simpler. When he began applying gentle warmth to his lower back in the evening, his sleep changed in a way he didn't expect. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. Fewer wake-ups, less urgency, a deeper sense of calm in his body before bed. His kidneys weren't being forced to work differently. They were finally allowed to relax. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. The kidneys sit deep in the lower back, surrounded by muscles, connective tissue, blood vessels, and nerves. When the body is under chronic stress, those surrounding tissues tighten. Cortisol rises. Blood flow becomes less efficient. And when circulation around the kidneys is restricted, filtration can become uneven, often shifting fluid elimination into nighttime hours. Gentle heat reverses that pattern. Applying a warm, not hot compress to the lower back for about 15 to 20 minutes increases local blood flow. Improved circulation brings more oxygen and nutrients to the tissues that support kidney filtration. It also encourages lymphatic drainage, helping excess fluid move out of tissues earlier in the evening instead of pooling overnight. This shift alone can reduce nighttime urination without changing how much water you drink. Heat also speaks directly to the nervous system. Warmth signals safety. When the nervous system relaxes, cortisol levels naturally fall. Lower cortisol means the kidneys are less likely to retain sodium and water. This is critical because stress-driven sodium retention is one of the most overlooked contributors to nighttime fluid shifts. By calming the system, heat allows the kidneys to release fluid earlier when you're still awake and upright. There's another layer most people miss. Relaxed back muscles reduce mechanical pressure around the renal arteries, the vessels that supply blood to the kidneys. When those arteries are less compressed, microcirculation improves. That means steadier filtration instead of bursts of activity that wake you at night. Observations in clinical settings, including discussions from institutions like Mayo Clinic, have noted that thermal therapies can support circulation and comfort around the kidneys when used appropriately. This isn't a medical treatment. It's a supportive habit that works with your physiology, not against it. Timing matters. Back heat therapy works best 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, not right as you lie down. This gives your body time to process the fluid shift before sleep. Pairing heat with slow, deep breathing enhances the effect, further calming the nervous system and signaling the body that it's safe to let go. Many people carry stress physically in their lower back without realizing it. Releasing that tension often changes kidney behavior more than any pill. Safety is essential. The heat should be warm, never hot. People with neuropathy, reduced sensation, or fragile skin should avoid this practice or consult a professional. Never sleep with a heating pad on and never use intense heat. The goal is gentle encouragement, not stimulation. What makes this technique powerful is how quietly it works. No forcing, no shock, just cooperation. But here's the most important part. Heat therapy doesn't replace the nutritional steps you've learned, it completes them. Because when the kidneys are supported internally and the body is relaxed externally, the system finally works as one. And that raises a final question you shouldn't ignore. How do you bring all of this together into a daily rhythm that protects your kidneys long-term? As we bring everything together, I want you to hear this clearly. If you're dealing with nighttime urination swelling or constant fatigue, it does not mean your kidneys are failing. In most cases, it means they are overwhelmed and asking quietly for support. And the fact that you're here listening to this already puts you ahead of where many people start. You're paying attention. That matters more than you think. The changes we talked about are not extreme. They're not expensive. And they're not about forcing your body to work harder. They're about reducing load, improving timing, and letting your kidneys do what they were designed to do, filter smoothly, steadily, and without stress. Simple food choices earlier in the day. Gentle habits in the evening. Consistency over intensity. These small decisions repeated daily are often what separate long-term stability from slow decline. If this video gave you clarity, relief, or even just a sense that you're not alone in this, I strongly encourage you to save this video. Kidney health is not something you fix once, it's something you revisit, especially as life stress and routines change. Saving it means you can come back whenever your body starts sending those quiet signals again. And if you want to keep learning how to protect your kidneys with evidence-based practical guidance, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I share updated medical insights, lifestyle strategies, and simple explanations designed to help you make informed decisions before problems become irreversible. No fear tactics, no hype, just clear information you can actually use. Most importantly, don't lose hope. The kidneys are remarkably resilient when given the right conditions. Many people see meaningful improvement not because they did something dramatic, but because they finally reduced the burden their kidneys were carrying every single day. You deserve restful nights, stable energy, and confidence in your health. Take care of your kidneys and they will take care of you. And if this helped you today, let me know in the comments. I'm listening.